بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك وبالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. Dear brothers and sisters, we have gone through Qur'an Majid, just understanding a glimpse of Qur'an Majid through these ayats, which starts with Surah Al-Baqarah's first muqatta'at. Muqatta'at means the split up letters, separate letters, cut off letters, alif, lam, mim. And much has been said, but a little bit more point where we can mention that alif, lam, mim and all the other muqatta'at which come in the beginning of any surahs, there is a mention of Quran with that. So it seems it is a kind of mu'jiza, it's kind of miracle, it's something attached with the greatness of Quran. And one can think about this, that altogether this alif, lam, mim, ha, mim, qaf, noon, sad, kaf, ha, ya, ain, sad, taha, like that, all these muqatta'at, if you put together, they are 14 letters. The Arabic alphabet has 28 letters. So these 14 letters are half of the whole total. So it seems as if it could be like these letters are mentioned in the beginning of some surahs to show that this is your language, O Arab people, and it's Arabian language, and these are the special letters, but these letters are an example of the rest of the letters. So it means if someone has mentioned, say 1, 2, 3, do you know 1, 2, 3? That means, do you know 1, 2, 3 till 10 till 100? He doesn't have to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 100, but it's understood that one is asking, do you know ABC? It means, do you know A to Z? What some ulama have said that this seems to be that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that you know alif, lam, mim, that's part of your letters, but this is, the same letters are used in the Quran as well, but the Quran has different subject and it's a miraculous word. And if you see carefully that Arabic language is made up of root words. Root words are like what we call madda. The words are made up of either of one letter, like wa is one letter, a is one letter, wa means and, a means what. This one letter. There are two letter words as huwa, he. Three letter word, daraba, he. Yeah. In the same way, 4 letter words and 5 letter words. And if you find out, split up this haruf muqatta'at, you will find out that these are also in the Quran, they are also altogether, they are split up into alif, lam, mim, 3 letters, sad, 1 letter, noon, 1 letter, 2 letters, ha, mim, taha, yasin, 3 letters, alif, lam, mim, and likewise 4 letters, and then 5 letters. So Arabic language is composed of basic words of 1 letter, 2 letters, 3 letters, 4 or 5 letters, not more than that. And from these, the other additional words make the lugha, make the language of Arabic. In the same way, Quran is also has the huruf muqatta'at, which are also formed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perhaps it indicates that this is also the key towards the language as well. So the language of Arabic is the same language of Quran, but Quran has totally different topic. And if you see that wherever the huruf muqatta'at are mentioned, wherever, Yasin wal Qur'an al-Azim, there is a Quran mentioned with it. Alif, lam, mim, dhalik al-kitab, the kitab is mentioned. So it has got special relationship with the Qur'aniyat. with the Qur'an. The Qur'an, the recitation of Allah, the speech of Allah, and the book of Allah has special connection with the huruf muqatta'at. So having said this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in this ayat which I have recited so far, the qualities, the attributes of the believers. And the believers are mentioned who believe in the things which are bil ghaib. Bil ghaib means which cannot be grasped by our senses, by our eyes, which cannot be seen by eyes. Hawas khamsa, as we say, 5 senses. We cannot touch, which we cannot hear, we cannot smell, and we cannot see. So all these 5 hawas khamsa, and we cannot taste, this touch tangible things. And many things are there which don't come into the hawas khamsa, into the 5 senses, but still we believe in them. We believe in happiness. Have you seen happiness? No. We believe in death. Death comes, we die, but no one has seen death. In the same way, no one has seen actually the grief, but people use it. But there are other things which we can't even see and taste and hear. Well, air, for example, we are breathing air, all around is air, and we can't see it. So millions of things which we can't see. All these rays which now have come through the scientific instruments, before that they were unknown, or they are not seen through naked eyes, but now through instrument we can see. Same way, we believe in things which are still unknown, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning of things which cannot be grasped by the 5 senses. Those are bil ghaib. And bil ghaib is most of the world, most of the universe. Say, whatever is apparent is very small, little piece, part of what is the total. And what is going to happen eventually, this is the grace of Allah that He has told us about al-ghaib, which is going to happen. Our real future, our future career is mentioned. What will happen to you on the day of judgment? You will be judged, and then you will be going to be successful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning here in the first few ayats, the people who will be successful. And now and these are called the believers. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning after that, soon after that, the second category, the non-believers, the rejectors. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. This is ayat number 6. خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَى سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَى أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning of the rejectors. The literal meaning of that is, indeed, those who have disbelieved. It is same to them or for them whether you warn them about Allah or not. They will not believe. Allah has set a seal on their hearts and on their hearings, and they have got a covering on their eyes, and they will have a great torment, a great punishment. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning of those people, that those innal ladhina kafaru, those people who have rejected. Now this is ayat, as some ulama can say, that this is one of the what is called the difficult parts of understanding Quran. If we take it in a simple way, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not mentioning of everyone who has rejected, but those people who Allah knows that they have rejected and they are bound to go to the hell or have the torment, then Allah is mentioning here, then there's no problem. But some people say, well, literally it means those people who have rejected, if the people in Makkah rejected first and then they became believers, then they are not included in this. So it means once who has rejected Islam, the Holy Prophet presented Islam to him and he rejected, then he is destined for hell forever. And then Allah has put a seal on his heart and on his ears. So if that's the case, that becomes a kind of like something to be explained. This is called Mushkilatul Quran. Similar ayat is in Surah Yasin. If you recite Surah Yasin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Yasin wal Qur'an al-Hakim. Again, Yasin has a relation with the connection with the Qur'an al-Hakim, the Qur'an the wise. Yasin wa innaka laminal mursalin, you are indeed among the messengers of Allah. Ala siratim mustaqim, you are on the straight path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling about the Holy Prophet. Tanzil al-Aziz Rahim, this Quran is being sent down by the one who is dominant, powerful, and who is kind and merciful. Why has he sent you the Quran? لِتُنذِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنذِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ, so that you warn those people whose ancestors have not been warned, means immediate ancestors of the people at the time of the Holy Prophet. They had not a prophet for many ages and they were not warned immediately. Long time before Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ismail alayhi salam's time, they were warned, and then they have heard other prophets, but they were not directly warned, so there was not much chance. So Allah is giving them a chance that now they are to be warned. Allah Ta'ala says, لَقَدْ حَقَّ الْقَوْلُ عَلَىٰ أَكْثَرِهِمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. But most of them, upon most of them, the word of Allah has been fulfilled, means the decision of Allah has been made that why فَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, they will not become believers. So Allah has decided that they will not become believers. Then says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا فِي أَعْنَاقِهِمْ أَغْلَالًا فَهِيَ إِلَى الْأَذْقَانِ فَهُمْ مُقْمَحُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put fetters or kind of chains, shackles around their necks, and they are reaching up to the azqan, up to the chins. They are spiritual, like they are not physical fetters. فَهُمْ مُقْمَحُونَ, and because of those fetters, their head is kept up and they cannot bend their head. So that also means the haughtiness, the arrogance. They have become so arrogant that they have, as they say, he's got a bar in his neck. So they are like that. So the same which Allah is mentioning here in Surah Al-Baqarah, that Allah has put curtains and barriers between their ears and eyes and their sight. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that they have got fetters, they have got shackles. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْ بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have made in front of them a barrier, behind them a barrier, فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ, and we have covered them from all sides, فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ, they are not seeing. So physically they are seeing, but spiritual they are not able to see. So Allah is mentioning what Allah has mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, He is mentioning in Surah Yasin in the beginning, and then Allah says, وَسَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. It is equal upon them, whether you warn them or you don't warn them, they will not believers. They will not believe. And then Allah says, إِنَّمَا تُنذِرُ مَنِ اتَّبَعَ الذِّكْرَ وَخَشِيَ الرَّحْمَنَ بِالْغَيْبِ فَبَشِّرْهُ بِمَغْفِرَةٍ وَأَجْرٍ كَرِيمٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the people, only those who follow the dhikr, what you remind them, if they follow the reminder, if they follow the Quran, if they listen to you, and they fear Allah, bil-ghayb again, with the unseen way, because they are not seeing Allah, and then they will take heed. فَبَشِّرْ بِمَغْفِرَةٍ وَأَجْرٍ كَرِيمٍ, but give them good tidings, because these are the people who are not among those people who have been covered. So this is becoming a bit difficult thing to understand, but it's very simple. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows who is going eventually to be successful and who is not, because He has created everything. He has created the universe, and He's created. This comes into that mas'ala, the problem or the question of taqdeer as well. What Allah has made, qadr and qada. Whatever Allah has decided, Allah has made everything in the universe. Now people choose good or bad, but Allah has made good and bad. And there has been a problem with some of the religions, I would say Zoroastrians. They say, no, evil cannot be made by God. So there must be someone else who made evil. And then God made good, but evil was made someone. So they call Yazdan, the maker of good, Ahraman, the maker of evil. And they say now the problem remains there. Because there is a God who created evil and there is a God who created good. Then there are two gods. But they say, no, we believe in one God. So they have formed a trinity. They say it's Ahura Mazda. So mixture of the two is one who is actually overlord of the two. So that's a trinity, in fact. So that's also a problem, and that cannot be explained. But here, in the taqdeer, because Allah has, subhanahu wa ta'ala, has created all the good things and the bad things. And some people ask, why has Allah made the pig? Well, Allah created the pig for a purpose, but we are told not to eat it. Has Allah, whatever Allah has created, has He told us to eat each and everything what is created? No. Can we eat a snake? Snake has a reason, has a purpose for being made. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made each and everything. وَخَلَقَكُمْ وَمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. He has created you and He has created what you do. So who does it? You do it, but He has created that. It's like, for example, Allah has created an evil and it's in front of you, and good is in front of you. Now, who told you to choose the evil? You can choose good. There's equal chance. But if you decide not to choose good and to choose evil, so there you have narrowed your brain, you have blinded yourself from the good, and you have chosen evil. So who has caused it? Because that blindness also was made by Allah, but you picked it up. So actually, because Allah is the Fatir of Samawat wal Ard, He is creator of everything. That's why He attributes that covering towards Him, because He is the Fatir, He is the creator. But who is the chooser, who is the doer? It's not Allah, it's the person who chooses. Now everyone who gets killed has been known by Allah who will kill, but He does not stop him because He has given us the free will. So He does not intervene in that. Why? Because that's also His intervention, that He has given us the free will. And that's also in accordance with His will. And this is the taqdeer, the predestination, which really we could understand only on the Day of Judgment. How much will we have, and how much what we call ikhtiyar, and how much jabr, or how much non-will, how much compulsion is there. But this actually there's no compulsion. We have been given free will, but I can give you example of, like, our free will and Allah's will are like two tracks of a train which are going side by side. So everything, a train has to tread on both sides, the will of Allah and the will of the person. So we are going on that track, double track, because that's our way of going. Every time Allah is also guiding us, and He has created everything, because if He did not create everything, where did it come from? Everything has come from Allah. In that way, He attributes few things towards Him. But on purpose, He does not cover any person's heart or mind from good, unless that person decides that he is going to not choose good and choose evil. And that's why Allah says, then now I have put a kind of curtain. And ulama have explained in depth how does this happen, that some people, if they used to, like, for example, addiction, just take an example. A person likes to eat something which the doctors tell him it's dangerous for your health, but he keeps on eating because he's addicted, he likes it. Then he keeps on doing it. What happens eventually? He gets addicted and he gets the effect of that. He gets the disease or he dies. And one of the Sahaba or one of the ulama explained in this way, that it's like a fist. You've got, if you close one finger, thumb, it's closed, another thumb closed, another, it's a fist. Now you know you can't put anything in it. So it's our mind and heart is open hand. What happens if we decide to do one evil? Then our thumb has been closed. Now another evil, another finger has been closed. Another evil, another evil, another evil. Likewise, we have closed our fist. Now our heart is closed. So our heart is like this fist. You know, it's as big as my fist. My heart will be approximately that way. So I've covered my own heart myself. But because I've been created by Allah and my hawas and my everything has been created by Allah, so Allah attributes it towards Him that He's closed our hearts, but actually we caused it. And this is explained, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah says here that those people who take heed from the nasiha, from the reminder of Allah through the Prophet and through the book and Hidayah, if they are open-minded, they take Hidayah, then they are guided towards the right path. But those people who choose to not to be guided and they close their hearts, eventually they will be led towards that, because Allah does not force anyone into evil or does not force anyone into good. He gives the person hints and guidance and instruction, but leaves the person to do, because that is His will. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. People will not wish until Allah wishes, whatever Allah wishes. So Allah wishes, sometimes Allah would wish something which people don't wish, but He will He'll wish because He wanted that person to be led to the guidance, because they deserved it. Sahaba Ikram, the Holy Prophet ﷺ's companions, they asked the Holy Prophet that if we have become now believers, then we were kuffar, then why is it that some people have not become believers and we have become believers? The Holy Prophet said, ﷺ answered, this is because some of the good deeds of yours in the age of kufr, of jahiliyyah, has led you into being believers. Because you were good in the past, that's why Allah made you, you deserved to be guided towards Islam, and you are now in Islam. So because a person has to have some quality in order to achieve the rahmah of Allah, the mercy of Allah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not put the curtains or the barriers or the fetters or the shackles on a person's mind or brain or heart, unless that person chooses it to be, and then when he chooses, he goes on doing evil and evil and evil, and he closes his mind himself. So Allah attributes it towards him. Yes, of course, eventually I've closed it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned exceptions to that. In another place Allah says, فَلَمَّا زَاغُوا أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُمْ. When the people became crooked, they became bent, they became curved, they didn't want to go on the right path, then أَزَاغَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُمْ, then Allah bent their hearts, Allah made their hearts crooked. So Allah does not just do it out of just for no reason. There is a reason for that. If the people are not wanting to go to the right path, Allah does not force them to that path. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned as well in Surah Mutaffifin, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا قَالَ أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. The people who go beyond their limits and they are not on the just path, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when my ayats, my Qur'an or my miracles or my messages are recited upon them, they قَالَ أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ, they say these are old stories from the old. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says clearly in Surah Mutaffifin in ayat 14 that Allah puts a rust upon their hearts, مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ, what they had achieved. So means this closing of their hearts, sealing of their hearts, or putting barriers is caused by the person. That's why Allah lets it happen, but Allah does not on purpose cause it without reason. So this is very clear, and some people have been mentioned in another place as well in the Quran. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ حَقَّتْ عَلَيْهِمْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يَرَوُا الْآيَاتِ. There are some people upon whom Allah's decision has been made. They chose evil. They wanted to go evil path, then Allah decided that now they are not to be guided anymore, because that's the end of it. And now, hatta yarawul ayat, but still they had a chance. They saw the ayat, of Allah and decided either to reject the ayat, or if they rejected the ayat, then Adhabun Alim, they've got the Yarawul Adhabul Alim. If they accepted, they will become believers. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah says, وَلَئِنْ أَتَيْتَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ بِكُلِّ آيَةٍ مَا تَبِعُوا قِبْلَتَكَ. This ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah 145, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you give them all the ayat, the people of the book, that means, of course, the Jews and Christians, if you give them all the symbols and signs of Allah and all the proofs and all the ayats and all the miracles, مَا تَبِعُوا قِبْلَتَكَ, they will not follow your qibla. It seems to be a sweeping statement that none of the Christians and Jews will follow this qibla of Kaaba. But there are, of course, exceptions. Some Jews became Muslims and most of the Christians also became Muslims. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning here, some people who from the people of the book will of course reject Islam. So don't worry about them, those who are rejectors. They will not follow you, so why worry about them? If they are bent on not following you and not listening to you, don't worry about them. And this is mentioned very clearly in another place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Alam tara illa alladhina baddalu ni'matallahi wa ahallu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, have you seen those people who changed the ni'mat Allah, the blessing of Allah, into their misblessing, you can say, and they got the Dar al-Bawar Jahannam, Khalidina fiha, wala bi'sa uqbad dar, they earned the hell. So Allah is very clearly saying in the Quran, all the places, that Allah, inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. People, unless they change themselves, their own, whatever is themselves or in their hearts or individually, Allah does not change. Allah does not change a nation. Ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim, unless they change individually. So that means that Allah does not force His guidance or misguidance upon the people, but people choose themselves their heaven or hell by their actions. If they do bad actions, then they keep on doing bad actions and they lose the way eventually. And if they want guidance, they go a little bit towards guidance. If they walk towards Allah, Allah runs towards them. If they go slowly, Allah goes fast towards them. That means Allah is waiting there for people to be guided, but people have to make the move. And if they make the move, then Allah makes it easy. So Islam and the guidance is very easy. All you need is, you are in search of guidance. You want the guidance. You are thirsty of guidance. You deserve it. You want it. It's your need. Allah will give you. Man jadda wajada, this is in Arabic. One who finds, one who looks for something, he finds it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning everywhere that Allah does not do zulm, oppression upon anyone. So He does not make people on purpose go to hell. People earn it themselves. So in that context, we will understand these ayats. When Allah says that Inna alladhina kafaru, that means those people who are hell-bent on going towards the kufr and rejecting Islam and not accepting sawa'un alayhim andartum am lam tunzirum la yu'minun, they are not going to believe. You warn them or not. So don't waste your time upon those people who are destined with Allah and are in the knowledge of Allah that they are not going to be guided. Otherwise, there are other people. It does not close the door for ta'wah. It doesn't mean that a person has rejected now and we say, okay, he deserves this ayat, so he's going to hell, so let's leave him, go to another one. Perhaps he has not understood your message. So unless, because the vantage point of Allah, when Allah sees the people, He knows he's going to be guided or not. his vantage point and our vantage point is different. We can't know, we can't judge about a person whether he will be ultimately a rejecter or not. But Allah knows it. So that's why Allah has warned us that you don't worry about those people who reject deen, who reject Islam. Keep on doing the da'wah. It doesn't hinder us from making da'wah. It rather encourages us to make da'wah, to call the people towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because this is our duty. And the hidayat is in the hand of Allah. The guidance is in the hand of Allah. So Allah is consoling the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Don't worry about this kuffar who have rejected your deen. They didn't want to be believers and they have chosen the path which was destined for them and it's not for you to worry. So Ibn Abi Hatim mentions that a Sahaba, a group of Sahaba, they asked the Holy Prophet ﷺ that some ayat of Quran are so reassuring and we feel happy, but there are other ayats which we feel very despair and we lose hope. So some ayats of Quran give us hope and some give us despair. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, let me tell you, the clear indication of the people of heaven and the people of hell. So the Holy Prophet said, shall I tell you what you deserve hope or you deserve despair? You have to hope for Jannah or despair and hope for hell. I'll tell you. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ recited this first ayat, Alif Lam Mim Dhalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fihi Hudan Lil Muttaqin Alladhina Yu'minuna Bil Ghaibi Wa Yuqimuna As-Salata Wa Mimma Razaqnahum Yunfiqun Walladhina Yu'minuna Bima Unzila Ilayka Wa Ma Unzila Min Qablik Wa Bil Akhirati Hum Yuqinun Ulaika Ala Hudan Min Rabbihim Wa Ulaika Humul Muflihun. The Holy Prophet ﷺ asked them, are you like this? Do you believe? They said yes. The Sahaba said yes. We hope that we are among those people. Then the Holy Prophet said, now you have a hope for Jannah. If you are like that, you should be hopeful. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ recited this, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَى سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَى أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. Allah sealed their hearts and their hearing, and upon their eyes there is a covering and they will have a torment. The Holy Prophet said, are you like this? The Sahaba said, no, astaghfirullah, we are not among those. Then the Holy Prophet said, now you have to be hopeful. So they said, we are not. The Holy Prophet testified, yes. So this is a very important explanation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning here this ayah to console us that we don't choose the wrong path. We should be among the believers and not among the rejectors. Now for rejecting, this is a very deep understanding. If a person is not presented with something, how can one judge that he is rejected? Suppose I want to give something to someone and I haven't given him. I said, oh, he refused me. How can I say he refused it? I haven't given him. So we Muslims, we should present Islam to the world, to the non-believers, to everyone. And Islam is for everyone. Hudan lin-nas. And the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is for Rasul, for all the human beings till the day of judgment, everyone. That means blacks, whites, Asian, Europeans, Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, atheists, everyone. When we present it to the people and now they have rejected, then we can say, oh, he rejected, he's a kafir. And kafir, the word kafara, is actually taken from the word which means cover. I think might be the English word cover has been taken from kafar. Kafar means to cover. So he has covered the truth. He heard it, but he covered it. He let it hide from his heart and he has not accepted it. He went away. So this is what in the religious term we say kufr, that a person has rejected the truth and hidden it, covered it, and not accepted it, and he has kept it secret, concealed. He has not accepted it. So this is. But when does that come? Only when we present it. A person who has not been presented, we don't know. And I'm going to say something else which is a bit startling for some people. I think we should take every person who is not a Muslim as a potential Muslim. Now don't be make haste on the judgment. What I'm trying to say, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that every mawlud, every person who is born, yuladu ala fitra. Every person is born upon fitra, and that fitra is fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nasa alayha la tabdila li khalqillah dhalika ad-dinul qayyim. This fitra is the fitra or the nature on which Allah created every human being, is the nature of Islam. And this is Allah's deen. This is fitra of Allah, the nature created by Allah. So nature on its own is an imaginative word by which people, the atheists who don't believe in God, they say, this is in nature. Nature made it. Nature causes it. No. They want to deceive people by saying that God caused it. They say, no, instead of God, we say nature. So they have invented another God. They believe in another God, which is nature. So actually nature is also something which is governed by the laws of Allah. Allah created the nature, and Allah has made the nature. So Allah's nature, the nature made by Allah, fatara an-nasa alayha, upon which He has made all human beings. La tabdila li khalqillah. This does not change. The khalqillah, that natural laws on which Allah has created the universe and the human beings, does not change. This is the deen al-qayyim. This is the established deen. This is deen. The word deen, law. It is law of Allah, plus it is a religion of Allah. So every mawlud has been, every human being has been made, has been born in fitra, in the natural disposition which is al-Islam. So means every child is born Muslim. It is startling. Every child born in a Hindu family is a Muslim. Every child born in a Christian family is a Muslim. Every child in a Jewish family or in the whole world is born Muslim. And the Holy Prophet said that later on his parents change him into a Christian, Jew, or Majusi, Magian, the Zoroastrian, or other religions. What does that mean? That means that when people grow up, they choose their religion or they become into any religion. And again, I can say a lot about that, because every religion has a kind of conversion ceremony. In Christianity, you know, there is a christening ceremony. So christening ceremony makes a person Christian. But I'll ask the question, before that christening ceremony, when the child became Christian, what was he? That child. I would say he was Muslim, because now you have converted him into Christian. Unknowingly, he doesn't know about it. But what the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, that his parents, and that parents would again mean whatever the influence in the house or outside the house. So some people have no parents. So who is their parent? The government or the society or the community is their parent. So their parents change their religion. So these religions which are in the world, man-made religions, some offshoots of Islam and distorted, and some made and created and invented by human beings with their own imagination. These are all religions in which people are converted, but they were not born in those religions. They were born in the natural religion, which is al-Islam. So every child is born Muslim. So every non-believer, a non-Muslim, is a potential Muslim. He could be a Muslim because he was born in Islam. If you presented Islam to him and he understands that this is my natural disposition, I was born in that, and really my heart and mind believes in that, and this is what I was looking for, then he becomes Muslim. But if you don't present to him, how can you say he's kafir? I have no right to say, but what I'm saying is Allah knows he's kafir or not. Allah knows it. But when you have not presented Islam and he does not know about Islam, Am I entitled to say he is a kafir? So we have to present Islam and then to make a judgment. But who are we to judge? Allah is to judge. But our job is to present Islam. So Islam is to be presented by everyone, and when anyone who finds Islam as the thing he was looking for, then he will become Muslim, then he might be a stronger Muslim than us. So now we have made Islam our own, like a hidden treasure. We think, oh, Islam is for me and for not others. And this is an affront to Islam. This is against Islam, because Islam is for everyone. That's why we have to make da'wah. We have to invite people. We are not force people. Invite people towards Islam. I mean, we can't invite with guns and swords and killings and bombs. No. We invite by ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasanati wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan. 3 stages. First of all, call towards Allah, sabili rabbika, towards the way of Allah, path of Allah, bil hikmah, with wisdom. It means you have to say, you invite some people to a dinner, so what do? You invite them, you don't say, hey, come to my dinner. No, no one will come like that. You invite them politely and use your hikmah, whether they are busy doing something else, so you attract them. Or suppose you want to invite some people to your shop to see what you are selling. But you have to find out, have they got time? Is the time suitable for them? Will they come? What wording would they understand? What kind of language they would understand? So you'll use all your imagination and all the technicalities by which to attract people. So you are inviting. Like you are advertising your goods, but you advertise in a language and in a picture by which people are attracted. So Islam should be, first of all, should be presented before the world in a wisdom, in a wise way, in a nice way, so that people can understand it. Give logical answer to it. Understanding. Not just emotions. Of course, emotions are there, but unless it appeals to the minds of people, it won't go into their hearts. So we have to put our heart and mind into the presentation and bring the people towards Islam, call towards Islam. So this is calling, this da'wah. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. First stage is by wisdom, by wise. Wise means wise words, wise actions, wise way. Suppose you find someone is not interested, so you make him interested in Islam and then call him towards Allah. If he's too busy and you are disturbing him, he would just go away from Islam rather, listening to you. So make him listen. First prepare the ground so that he can listen. So this is wisdom. Bil hikmah. Wal maw'izatil hasana, well-wishing, with a good nasiha, with a good advice. So how is that good advice? Means if you can show that person this is something beneficial for you, because he might be thinking it is beneficial for me. I'm inviting, so it's for you beneficial, not for me, but you present it in a way that it is beneficial for him, because it is actually for everyone. Islam is not a monopoly of us Muslims. Born Muslims, as we say, astaghfirullah. Everyone is a born Muslim. You see, there's no distinction. Everyone is born in Islam. But some converted to other religions, some remain in Islam. Some Muslims, they convert into wrong ideals, into misguidance, into shirk, bid'ah, and wrong aqidah. So we have to convert them as well back to Islam. But the thrust of the opinion nowadays, the thrust of our actions is upon making people, declaring them non-believers. He is misguided, gumrah, he's on the wrong path, he's wrong, this, that. Even among the Muslims, everyone is wrong, I'm the right. And non-Muslims, no one touches about them. No one thinks about them. So what we have to give the clemency, that we have to invite even our own people into the right Islam, into the right Aqidah, into right Amal, right action, right belief. And the non-Muslims also to the right belief. So we have to invite. And this is, the first stage is hikmah, wisdom, then good nasiha, good advice. وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. The third stage is when there is an argument comes in, then of course do it in the best way. And Allah has mentioned very clearly, وَلَا تُجَادِلُوا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. And don't argue with the Ahl al-Kitab, the people of the book, because they have a knowledge behind it. They have got a very vast tradition of religion, and they have a terminology, they have a civilization, they are very well intellectually based. So give them the dawah with that intellect. Argue with them in the same logical and rational way by which they can be convinced. Convince them. Not just make points, not pass on. That's why I'm against these debates by which people score points. Oh yeah, we are winning more points, clapping, and the others is losing. No. Because in that way you create barriers and the people shut their mouths and they don't want to listen to you. So what Islam tells us, what Quran tells us, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas, you are the best of ummah, you are taken out, you are sent on this earth, or you are made or given a responsibility, or as you can say, you are assigned with this duty of yad'una ila al-khair, for all humanity to call them towards good, all good. وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and all the bad, all evil, you have to stop. Of course, you have to use, wherever it's available, use force, but not force as such. But if there is if people can listen to you and then keep away from the evil, then why use force? Your word is enough. But when there is evil coming with force, then you use force for eradicating evil. But everything has a right moment and the right time and the right strategy. So don't say the right thing on the wrong place and the wrong thing on the right place. Everything has a right occasion. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has deputed us, assigned us with this duty of Kuntum khayra ummatin, you are the best of ummah only if you call the people towards good. وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَيُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ, and you should yourself believe in Allah. Means you don't believe and you want to preach other people to believe. No, you have to believe, because what is iman? What is again belief? Belief is something which says Anwar Shah Rahimahullah, he said that iman is belief is something which goes from heart to action to the body, and amal is something which goes from the body to heart to iman. So iman is something from the heart, you declare with the tongue, you testify by the heart, and then you put it into action of the body. So iman or belief is manifested from heart outside through the body. And the amal is from the body which goes back to the heart to testify what is in the heart. So your amal and your action and your belief go hand in hand. So don't forget your own belief. Preach what you believe, and what you believe put into practice. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this duty. So in that course of that duty, when we are fulfilling that duty, Allah is telling us the pitfalls. There will be some people who will not believe, and they won't believe. In the end, they won't believe. So what will you do? Fight with them? No, leave them. Choose other people. There's vast world, all the people, and those who have not to believe will not believe. Don't worry about them. Sometimes you would have to tell them and not tell them. It won't make any difference. So don't be bogged down just because some people are not listening to you. The Holy Prophet ﷺ, he was so kind-hearted. He would go to everyone and plead everyone and tell them to accept Islam and believe in one Allah and believe in him as a prophet. They rejected him, and he would again implore that he would keep on going, and he was put himself into trouble, and Allah had to warn them that you are putting your life into trouble. Just people are not believing. There will be some people who will eventually never believe. So don't worry about them. So in that context, this is the ayah, and I've gone through many tafasir to get the answer for this mushkilat of Quran. Eventually I got many tafsir I read through Muhammad Asad, Leopold Weiss and Ibn Kathir and many other, all schools of thought or tafasir. But people have just passed, even Tafhimul Quran, people have passed through this. They have not gone into the depth and explained the question arising. Does it apply to all non-believers? They will never believe? Because the fact is some believers became believer. Non-believers became believers. So, but this ayah particularly has been explained by Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi, rahimahullah. Because he said that this is what Allah knew that they will not eventually believe, and He's warned about them. But there were on the ground some people who became believers afterwards. So, not to worry. So, don't be bogged down by just people are not believing. Leave them, go, and there's other large number of people who are listening, going to listen to you. So, our job is to present Islam. Hidayah, guidance is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these two groups are mentioned, the believers and the non-believers are mentioned in one ruku. One ruku is with ayn. In the second ruku, perhaps most of the ruku deals with third category. And that third category is very, very peculiar, very strange. That some people, when they found that Islam is flourishing, so they started believing in it, but they didn't want to believe in it. They didn't believe in it, but they declared their belief. They took Shahada, although they did not take it with the intention of their heart. And this started in Medina. When the Holy Prophet ﷺ was in Mecca, those people who believed in Islam, they had no enticement because they were not getting, they were rather being mistreated, tortured, and even put to death. Those who became Muslims, they were inviting all the troubles of the world. So those Muslims who declared Islam in Mecca, they were true Muslims and no tinge of any hypocrisy, any double-minded, a double standard was there. Because this hypocrisy or nifaq can be explained by the word nafaq. If you see nafaq in Arabic means what you call the tunnel. You know the tunnel? When you pass through under the mountain, a tunnel, one side is open, you go inside, and you go out from the other side. So what has got the tunnel? Tunnel has got two faces. One face out, one in. So you can enter from one side, go out from the other side, you enter another side, you go out from the other side. That is nafaq. So this person who has a nafaq, who has two faces, two openings, one opening for the believers, one opening for the non-believers. So he is called munafiq, having two-faced. And in, I think, Turkish language, there is a word for that, dolme, means two-mouthed people, with two mouths, two faces. So one face is for the Muslim believers, he is with the believers. Another is for the non-believers, he is with the non-believers. When he comes in contact with a Muslim, he says, oh yeah, I'm with you. He prays with you and he does all the social actions like a Muslim, and you think he's a Muslim and you put him in the Muslim register. But when he joins the non-believers, he's with them, he supports them, and he helps them undermine Islam. So when in Makkah the Muslims became believers, there was no such thing which would give them some reward in this life. They were doing only for akhirah, so there was no chance of being hypocrite, being munafiq. They were true, sincere Muslims. So none of the muhajirin Muslims who went from Mecca and went to Medina, none of them were munafiq. Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Umar, Osman, Ali, Talha, Zubair, Saad, Sa'id, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, Abu Ubaidah bin Jarrah, and Bilal and Suhaib, and none of these Sahaba could be taken as having nifaq. And those people who accuse them of they are just deceiving their own minds, because there was no reason to be hypocrites, because there was no strings attached, as they say. What happened? The nifaq or the munafiqat started in Medina. When the Holy Prophet went to Medina, because it's again we have to go through the seerah, the Holy Prophet was in Mecca. He had just a few hundred believers, men, women and children, and Muslims were not having any great strength or power, and they were rather under persecution most of the time. Eventually, when they wanted to even kill the Holy Prophet, then he was told to leave Mecca and go to Medina eventually. So Muslims, but before he went to Medina, a few years before, the people of Medina had come and they accepted Islam secretly, and they went back and they took a teacher with them who taught them Islam, Mus'ab ibn Umair radiallahu anhu, and he taught them Islam, and then the great leaders of two, Aus and Khazraj, they became Muslims, and then at that time they were Jews as well. The third very strong community was Jewish. They were also expecting for a prophet to come. So they were also not against any Muslim. But Islam flourished in Medina without force, and there was no persecution on those Muslims. So they were true Muslims. When the Holy Prophet went there, then all these Muslims, because majority of the city-state of Medina had become Muslims, and their great leaders were Muslims, and although they were preparing for a person, Abdullah bin Ubay ibn Salul, to be their king and to be crowned, but now the tables had turned, the affairs had changed. They had the Holy Prophet ﷺ as the Rasul of Allah. They invited him, and because he had come them according to their pact, so they had to obey him and live by him. So Islam became a society, a community, and a state as well. So the Holy Prophet became the head of state. Now this Abdullah bin Ubay ibn Salul, who was going to be crowned, he became the Ra'isul Munafiqeen. He became the leader of those hypocrites. And he declared outwardly that he was a Muslim believer. He was with them. He even took Shahada and he was praying with the Muslims and everything. But internally, he was siding with the enemies. He was trying to undermine Islam. So he was like a conspirator against Islam, and he would leave no stone unturned if he got any power to uproot Islam. And with him, then many of other people who were of his mind, like-minded, they gathered with him, and some of those Jews who did not accept Islam, they also became like two-faced. With the Muslims, they would say, we are believers, and with the non-Muslims, they would say, no, we are plotting against them. We are with you. We are just making fun of them. So in that context, we'll understand the next ayats, which are about the munafiqeen.